Everyone tells you throttle control means applying throttle smoothly. But smooth from when? A perfect throttle trace can still spin the car if the rear tyre is still busy turning it. So the mistake is not always your foot. It is the moment you asked the tyre for power. And here is the proof. 2 exits. Almost the same smooth throttle input, but completely different yaw. One rear tyre is still busy. The other is ready to drive. Everyone tells you throttle control means applying throttle smoothly. But smooth from when? A perfect throttle trace can still spin the car if the rear tyre is still busy turning it. So the mistake is not always your foot. It is the moment you ask the tyre for power. Watch the exit. The throttle can look smooth and still arrive too early, because in one run, the rear tyre is still busy turning the car. In the other, the car is ready to drive. Look at what the rear tyre is already doing. It does not have a separate grip reserve waiting for throttle. It has one grip budget. Cornering uses it. Rotation uses it. Acceleration uses it. So if the car is still rotating through the corner, the rear tyre is already spending grip sideways. Then throttle arrives. Now that same tyre has to drive the car forward as well. Ask for that too early, and the tyre does not argue. It just runs out. That is not a smoothness problem. That is a grip problem. The car being ready does not mean waiting forever. It means reaching the handover point. That moment where the corner is no longer mainly about rotation, and it starts becoming about drive. The nose begins to face the exit. That is the window. Before that window, throttle adds another job to the rear tyre. After that window, throttle can start doing what it was meant to do. Drive the car out. Ready is not a timer, ready is the state of the car. This is where the throttle trace can fool you. 2 exits can look close on the pedal, same kind of smooth build, but the car underneath can be in 2 completely different states. On the first exit, throttle starts while the car is still rotating, the rear is still helping carry the corner. So even though the pedal looks smooth, the request has arrived too early. That is smooth, but early. On the second exit, the car has already started to settle into the exit. The steering is opening. The nose is pointing where you want to go, and the rear tyre has more grip free for drive. That is smooth and ready. Same looking throttle, different car state, different exit. The trace tells you what your foot did. The car tells you whether it was time. That is why just be smoother sends drivers after the wrong fix. They start polishing the pedal, but the mistake was already there before the throttle arrived. The car was still rotating. The rear was still carrying the corner, and power was asked for too soon. So the fix is not just a prettier throttle trace, the fix is getting the car ready before throttle gets there. Because the nose is already finding the exit. You are not just sitting at the exit, waiting for the rear tyre to calm down. You are building the exit earlier, so when throttle arrives, the rear tyre has less to fight. If the car is still asking for rotation, throttle is not acceleration yet. It is another demand. But when the car is pointed, settled, and starting to open, throttle finally has a job it can do. Drive, not early throttle, not gentle throttle, ready throttle. Fast out is not the first moment your foot moves. Fast out is the point where the car can actually keep the power you give it. Before the handover, throttle is just another load on the rear tyre. After the handover, it becomes drive. So when the advice is apply the throttle smoothly, the question still has to be smooth from when? Because the pedal can be clean and the timing can still be wrong. The rear tyre tells the truth. Rotation finishes, drive begins. That is throttle control.